One of our members here, Phil, says, do you have any update for us on how Nailz or Brad Riggins are doing these days?
Oh God, I talked to both of them. Nailz is still traveling the U.S. Selling uh, trailers, and that's what he loves to do. Kevin is he drives literally 5-6 days of the week, and sometimes I call him or he calls me, which ain't very often, maybe once a year, once every 6 months. And all of a sudden, yeah, I'm in El Paso. Yeah, I'm in, he just loves driving. And uh, he's healthy, and he's I think he's a lot thinner than he used to be, but he's healthy as hell, and he's doing what he likes to do. He's
Is
a
he
loner.
as tough? Is he as tough as people say?
Yeah, he was a tough guy. The only reason I know is because I know he won the Minnesota Tough Man contest. And you gotta be a tough guy to win shit like that, right? And the guys that showed up at those kind of tough man contests, they were tough guys. And Kevin won it one year. I think it might have been the mid or the early 80s, very early 80s. And he was tough, but here's the point. And even Kevin, you're not that tough. You might be a good boxer. Like I always talk about Rick Rude. Rick could hit hard as hell, but it didn't make him tough because all the way, if he got the first and second punch in, then you probably weren't going to rebound. Same with Kevin. They hit like mules, and if they got the first or second punch in. But if they didn't, who knows what's going to happen in a wrestling match? All of a sudden, you got an amateur wrestler, and he grabs your leg and twists you and starts hammering you from behind. Whole different story. I had you get these stories, and I probably talked to you about the Nailz beating up Vince, and I'm like, well, hold it. If you ask Nailz, there's only one guy that knows the true story of that, and that's me, because I rode with Kevin, and we planned it out together. But I'm not saying I was just driving a 92 rental Lincoln, which all you ever rented back then was Lincoln Town Cars, for $29.95. Me and Kevin are in the front seat alone, and they're piss testing really still. It's gotten worse. And you got to remember one thing about Kevin Kelly is Kevin, I heard that he was pissed off that he only got $8,000 for working against Boss Man. Was it SummerSlam or something? And he was pissed off about the $8,000 payoff because somebody else, or who, Undertaker, I think, got $50,000. Another guy got, anyways, but that ain't why Kevin did this. Kevin did it because he's been smoking pot since he's been 9 years old, every day, all day. If you know Kevin, that's how it is. That's what he wants to do. I get it. I dig. I'm on your side, Kev. But so I'm driving in the rental Lincoln, and all of a sudden Kevin out of nowhere just goes, yeah, I'm going to beat up Vince. What? You're going to beat, really? I said, when we get to the arena? Yeah. That's the way Kevin talks. Yeah. Anyways, I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Anything? He goes, watch the door. Okay. And he says, I'm going to scream. He put his hand on my dick. And I went, oh, okay, that's a good cover up. And me, I'm not going to lose my job, And I'm like, well, he goes, and he called me, because I was always eating a lot of fast food. He always called me Bundy. He said, hey, Bundy, I don't expect you to lose your job, So I said, okay, thanks, Kev. So we're in Green Bay, Brown County Arena. You're in these shitty locker rooms. They're like these long, heavy painted blue benches that weigh they're of wood, and probably weighed, a couple 100 pounds. And anyways, you got about 7 guys that want to see Vince. And we're in line. I'm sitting next to Kevin. I know he's ahead of me. And so the guys start coming back out. And I didn't know this, that Vince was in the next room by himself. You figure a guy like Vince McMahon would have a guy in back of him watching him, which he probably has every day since then. But he was by himself. Anyways, they go, okay, Kevin, you're up. So Kevin walks in the door, one of those big, freaking huge swing doors. He goes in there, and all of a sudden, I didn't hear nothing, and all of a sudden I hear the, "You fucking homo, you piece of shit, you're fucking, did you give other guys this much pay and me none, you fucking piece of shit." And I know what Kevin did because he told me later, but he had grabbed Vince by the neck and he was literally picking him up in the air. And Kevin's cock strong. He's just a strong kid. And I went by the door and I was standing in front of the door. Now I got people wanting to, "Look out, Nord, get out of the way." And I'm like, going, what? You ever, dude, they're like, "You mean this side or this?" I don't know what you guys are doing. So finally, I couldn't hold off the troops long enough. So I busted in the door. Now I see Slaughter on trying to get in between Kevin and Vince, and I grab Sarge from behind. I act like I'm trying to peel him off, but I'm just barely got my hands on him. I go, "Come on, break it up. What the fuck's going on here?" And I just worked the whole deal. But long story short, after it had happened, the Brown County Arena Sheriff's Department came in, and I'll never forget as long as I live. They said, we're standing. I'm standing there, and I'm, it's the heat's way down, and I think it was Jack Lanza, that came up to the sheriff's department and said, "Hey, Mr. McMahon wants Kevin Kelly or Mr. Wackholz evicted from the arena." And these fucking sheriffs look at Lanza and said, "You tell Mr. McMahon he don't own Brown County Arena. We do. Okay? We'll do that when we're ready. We're not ready to do anything." So that really snagged him. But so Kevin just disappeared. I don't know where he went. I think outside or to the edge of the door or something. And then I'll never forget, Vince came up to me and he said, "John, is there something I missed?" And he said, "John, I seen blue, and then I seen red, and then I seen purple." And Vince goes on like this color chart as Kevin hit, because he said he started passing out. And I'm like, and I don't know why he told me. I think he was just checking me out, but I just kayfabed. I didn't lose my job or nothing like this. But Vince's lawyers called me. It was either the next day or the next day I was home. They called me at home and said, "Yeah, could you, what could you?" And they were all freaked out about, oh, that's right, Kevin had yelled too. "He put his hand on my dick. He put his hand on my dick." So that was Kevin's, cover up to make sure, whether, it would protect him or get him a lawsuit or whatever. It never happened or nothing, but that was his cover. That was his plan, and that's okay. I've talked about it since with Kevin. But the bottom line is I said, geez, all I kept saying to his lawyers was, I just feel so bad for Vince. I didn't know what else to say. I didn't want to lose my job, And Kevin damn sure wouldn't expect me to lose my job. That was our deal, was you don't have to lose your job over what I'm going to do. But most people think it's because of this $8,000 payoff he got. It wasn't. It was because Kevin Kelly wasn't ever going to quit smoking pot, so he might as well quit his job now. That's was Kevin's thinking. So.
And the funny thing is, there's a lot of rumors now because of some of these text messages that came out about Vince, and rumors that him and Pat may have had something on the side that, like, it's actually more believable now, the accusation,
nice
even though it was made up.
That's a nice thought.